Up this long. You're welcome to wait. We'll let you in. Then it all disappeared and I didn't want to click around your laptop. Okay. I was very stressed.
Is it okay that that door is open?
Yeah, we're in public session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so back into public session, and next on our agenda is the interim appointment discussion about an interim executive director. And so I'm just going to open up the floor. I know that most of you have access to a, I was going to say resume CV of a potential interim director. And so just would love to open up the floor for discussion. Mary Beth is also here.
Why'd you pick her? Or, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you're here. Yeah, but I'm curious, yeah, why? Or did you volunteer? Yeah, how did this come about?
Why don't I jump in again, and then Mary Beth, I'll let you introduce yourself. She's quite capable of speaking on her own behalf.
Yeah.
But people also don't often like to brag about themselves. And Mary Beth Baptista is someone I reached out to because she has a long history of serving government bodies, currently as the executive director of the Naturopathic Medicine Board, but other things in city government as well. She's an excellent leader. She has familiarity, of course, with another medical licensing board, so understands both the licensing side of things as well as rulemaking, disciplinary actions, all of the things that sort of come under the umbrella of a licensing board. And then just great remarks from colleagues and folks she supervises, coworkers. And importantly, she said yes when I reached out about having time, basically to split time between two agencies. So she won't be leaving the Naturopathic Medicine Board, but sort of adding on. And so with that, Mary Beth, why don't I turn it over to you and you can tell the group about yourself.
Sure, thank you. I actually thought you knew I was in the room and asked that question anyways, because that's totally fine. As I say all the time, I'm not from here, so I always try to introduce myself as that because sometimes people are scared by how direct I am. So I was like, oh, good, she was direct too. So I understand that this is not the best of times, and it's difficult to go through change. And I think that that's one of the ways that I can help you is that I really have worked in agencies in this situation before, through tremendous change, through conflict and change, and so I feel like one of my skill sets is really to help bridge a gap and really help people to move through change. I also am very familiar with social work. I started my career as Multnomah County Deputy District Attorney. I did most of my work in domestic violence, and then I was the VAWA grant recipient, so did underserved populations, elder abuse, and domestic violence for underserved populations, did a lot of outreach and coordination around that. And then oversaw the discipline of the Portland Police. So if anyone can get anyone through a time of conflict, it is me. There was nothing but conflict back in, and I was in like the meat of the oversight. I was there from 2007 to 13, and so I can be the steady hand in a really conflict-ridden situation. And I don't think this is a conflict situation. I think you're shocked and surprised, and I just want to be there to help, steady the ground from shifting underneath. And my work with the Naturopathic Board, I've been the executive director since 2017. So I'm a lawyer. I'm not a naturopathic doctor, but I understand policy. I understand rulemaking. I understand disciplines. I understand complaints. I understand how to move that complaint to a thorough and uh, I'm sorry, I just spoke to students at the university for 2 hours before I'm speaking with you. So I might be kind of out of words. I'm trying my best here, but transparent and fair investigations, consistent discipline, efficient staff work to make sure that people get their licenses on time. I mean, that is what I do every single day at the naturopathic board. And I would be happy to help you all keep the lights on and sign the vacation slips and sign the bills and make sure that your meetings are coordinated and organized and just help you get through this interim time with the experience that I have.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Mary Beth, how many folks are licensed through your board?
1,250. And I know that you all have 8,000. So I know that that's a considerable number more. But I also, oversaw the discipline of the Portland police, and there was more than 8,000 sworn police officers for sure. So this is just because I currently work for a small agency doesn't mean that I don't have experience working with a larger one. I also had 12 staff members when I was the executive director of the IPR for investigators, a policy analyst, support staff. So I've had a lot of experience with overseeing staff and larger agencies than the one I'm overseeing now.
And on average, do you know how many investigations or complaints come to your board kind of per year?
I do. I actually I should have given you my
Perfect.
PowerPoint that I just gave to
I'm
the students.
excited. Love that.
Yes. So we get around 40. Last year we got 44. We get an average of 45 a year, except for the COVID years. Things went a little nuts, but we don't count those. So we have 44 complaints that go to investigation every year. We investigate all complaints unless it's a matter of law. They're not a complaint, right? So if somebody complains, like I was just at the hairdresser and I saw that, Dr. Elaine Bennis, ND, is giving Botox. Well, she can. Botox is within our scope of practice. So that's not really a complaint. So we don't take those. We don't count that as part of the 44. The 44 complaints that we get are actual matters of a question of fact. And out of those 44 complaints, last year we had 11 and in discipline. So I just did a math quiz with these guys down there. So that's 25% of the complaints that we get go to discipline.
Thank you.
Mary Beth, we have some rule change that needs to get done quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just wondering if you could speak a little bit about your experience with that.
When I started at the Board of Naturopathic Medicine, I wanted to throw out every single rule that I could and start over because they were written in some sort of old-timey lawyery, even though I'm a lawyer, I believe in plain language. So I feel like the majority of the work that I have done at the Board of Naturopathic Medicine is change the rules and change them to be more transparent, change them to, have greater ability to have accountability, and then also improve licensee behavior because they know exactly what the rules are. So we've done emergency rules. It feels like I've spent more time making rules than not, to be honest, at the board. So I have extensive experience in writing rules and doing them in an emergent fashion. That is 100% in my wheelhouse.
Okay, I was just like, are you ready for the challenge? Because we got to get this going.
Oh yeah, 100%. I have to also plug in my computer here because, like I said, I've just been at the thing. So yes, I'm 100% ready for that challenge. Writing rules. I feel like in the beginning was more of a whack-a-mole situation. It's like every time we would write one, then we would realize we have to write a different one. But I think that's actually, if you were to ask the board or my colleagues or even the other naturopathic doctors that are subject to those rules, they would say that the rulemaking that I've done has really, really improved the ability for licensees to understand, the public to understand, and I think it's led to greater accountability.
Can you give an example of some of the rules to improve licensee behavior and like how they were successful, how you measured that?
Sure. One of the biggest examples is when sometimes we would get complaints and it would be a disgruntled patient, right? Or a family member that was upset that they were seeing a naturopathic doctor. Like there was no there. It was just they were complaining. It wasn't a complaint. But when we would subpoena the chart records, the chart notes, the chart, to see what the treatment was, right? If it was alleging negligent treatment or negligent prescribing, we would subpoena the chart notes, and they were a disaster, right? They were either we call them soapless. Like there's 4 elements to writing a chart, and it spells out soap, right? Yeah. Okay. So you guys know what I'm talking about. So they would be soapless, or it would just be cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste, right? And so people weren't. So cases that would have been dismissed, but for the fact that their charts were a disaster, we wrote a rule that basically outlines exactly what you're supposed to put in a chart, and those have dramatically dropped off as ways of discipline and cases that end in discipline for charting only, for sure, have dropped off. And it's also because we have these standard guidelines for charting that a lot of people, because they've charted so well, if they hadn't, we may not have been, they may not, they might have been found in violation, but they were so clear in their charting. So that's one of the areas. Also, so one of the areas for sure that we've seen the violations drop off is for charting, but more practice oriented. We saw that there was an influx of people coming in to do injection therapy. Injection therapy is like all the rage right now, right? Everybody's doing injection therapy. And we realized that we didn't have proper guidelines or guardrails, right, for the people who are doing injection therapy. And some of these injection therapies to your shoulders, to your lower body, and especially to your spine, create a huge risk to the public. And basically we were saying, well, just make sure you're trained. And we were really concerned by that. We were concerned by some of the cases that we were seeing coming in. This happened around COVID. So we were fortunate. I mean, there's very few silver linings in COVID, but this was one of them. We were fortunate that because COVID happened when we were about to write this rule, we kind of skirted the danger because nobody was hands-on in those days, right? So we were able to write this rule and implement these very, very clear but strict guidelines for training and education prior to engaging in this therapy. And in fact, California is pretty much copying the rules that we wrote because they're now seeing the same issue. So we got ahead of that before it was a problem. Where in California it became a problem, and now they're on it. So we anticipated the potential for public harm, and we're able to implement those rules. And we have very little negligent treatment around. I actually can't remember. I did the most recent case we had was the person was doing the treatment but hadn't done the training, right? So they were doing it without their being qualified to do so. We've had very little patient harm from this really intensive therapy. So those are 2 examples.
Okay, thank you. Sherry?
There were a couple of other things I thought I would share about Mary Beth from my professional experience and partners that I work with. Mary Beth is part of a smaller health licensing group. So there's several other boards and commissions like the Mortuary and Cemetery Board, Veterinary Board. I'm going to forget all of them, but they kind of operate together as partners. And Mary Beth is seen as kind of the lead and the subject matter expert of that group, and serves oftentimes as a mentor to our newer EDs. There is actually a particular ED I support who is always complimentary about the support that Mary Beth has provided during his onboarding. The other thing I want to remind the board is we are stepping into the budget season, and there is critical timing and requirements for creating the agency recommended budget coming up. And that is another skill set that Mary Beth is very astute in the budget process. And think it's important not to minimize the need for the budget experience as well. I just want to throw that out since we are really entering a significant season. The other piece is Mary Beth would not operate independently. She would operate in concert with the board. And so whether it's rulemaking or anything that she would be doing, it would be in support of the direction that the board wants to go. I do want to point out we're recommending a 6-month interim rotation. 6 months is not that much time, especially if we're considering a competitive open recruitment at the same time. And so this is truly an interim part-time board support during a transition to secure a permanent position. It's also important to keep that in mind because Mary Beth will not be able to devote 100% of her time to the board. So we would need to prioritize what those things are during that transition period while the board works to secure a permanent placement. Thank you.
And Sherry, to your point of 6 months not feeling like a lot of time, how quickly will the position be posted? The permanent one, I mean, I'm not talking about interim.
I'm going to pass that over to John so I do not
Okay.
speak out of turn.
Okay,
John
sorry,
is
I
our
don't
executive
always know who
recruiter.
to
Thank you.
direct my question
Oh.
to. Apologies, John.
That's okay.
No, that's totally fine. And thank you, Sherry. Once the board agrees or votes on the recruitment plan, my preference is to work backwards. When you would want someone in that role will determine when the posting will actually be posted. So once the job announcement as well as the recruitment plan has been agreed upon, within days that posting can go up. So that's certainly not a challenge. It's the board agreeing upon the verbiage that will go into the posting itself.
That's not on our agenda today.
That's what I
right?
was gonna ask. Is
That
that
has-
part of this discussion, Kyle? No, we
So
have
that's
to
next
add
meeting.
that to the next.
Okay. Okay,
The next meeting.
yeah.
So then we need to do like a special meeting in that case, because we meet again in 2 months.
Used to a team only meeting.
Yeah, for the board's
We can
discretion.
decide.
Oh,
a special
okay.
meeting.
Yeah, okay.
In that special meeting, we would have the opportunity to invite John and Sherry to come to that for that discussion. Sorry, Troy.
Go ahead.
Nope.
Yes, so this is Troy Stalis. So John and Sherry, good to see you again, Sherry. If there's a template for what that recruitment plan looks like, that we have the ability, and it's, public record type item. So we have the ability to understand from a board point of view, what we are going to be asked to fill in and the types of questions we need to respond to as a board in order to help create that recruitment plan. Earlier than later would be better. I'd rather have it now so that we do set a special meeting in a month, or we hold our normal meeting in 2 months. We come into that prepared instead of trying to create in the moment. So we don't delay the length of time in order to give the approval to have the posting go public.
We're in
I would
total
appreciate it.
agreement.
Thank
We're in
you.
total agreement. I actually have that template that I'm looking at right now that I'd be happy to send that over to where the board can actually work and fill in those gaps. I'm more than willing to work with you on that, but the information is there as to what the steps are, what's required, and who's actually responsible for those particular steps.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Sherry?
I just want to remind folks, while we can send out that information, we do need to be careful to follow public meeting law when
Yeah.
even talking about the recruitment process. Most of it should be done in a special meeting. You can all have the information, but just be mindful that you shouldn't be working on
Yeah.
it together.
Although my understanding is 2 of us could potentially work on it ahead, and that doesn't constitute a meeting. And then bring potential suggestions to the larger group at a meeting, right?
Yeah, it's less than a quorum as long as it's not two members that are on the same committee. So
Okay. Just thinking about how we can do a little bit of work ahead.
Yeah. Thank you.
Questions, statements? Thank you. Thanks, Mary Beth. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank you.
for coming and for everybody else and enjoying the discussion. I myself know that there's still, like, we got to keep work at the board moving. And so I would make a motion that we appoint Mary Beth Baptista as the interim executive director so that we can continue the work that needs done.
I'll second that.
You can say your name.
Olivia Borman seconds.
There you go.
Thanks. We'll do a roll call. Amy Ashton Williams, aye.
Mike Gonzalez, aye.
Nicole Pantley, aye.
Olivia Borman, aye.
Molly Jansen,
Aye.
All right. Yes.
The motion to delegate authority, there's actually two motions there.
Can you give me the language? Is that just simply the language, Kyle?
If you want to do language, or I can just read it. You need to move to delegate to the DAS Chief Human Resources Office the authority to carry out the administrative tasks.
why don't you just hand that to her? She's not gonna memorize
The
that.
interim appointment.
Say so
You
much.
say what he says.
Oh, okay.
This is Amy Ashton Williams. So moved.
I thought you had to read it.
Such a moving. Olivia Borman, second.
Thanks, Olivia. Roll call this Amy Ashton Williams, aye.
Mike Gonzalez, aye.
Nicole Pantley, aye.
Olivia Borman, aye.
Molly Jansen, aye.
Thank you, Kyle.
And then the second motion is the board needs to move to delegate all of the authority to the new interim executive director that has been previously delegated to its prior executive directors, so long as they are in the position until a new executive director is appointed or the board votes to withdraw the delegation of authority.
Amy Ashton Williams, so moved.
Olivia Borman, second.
Thank you, Olivia. Roll call, Amy Ashton Williams, aye.
Mike Gonzalez, aye.
Nicole Pantley, aye.
Olivia Borman, aye.
Molly Jansen, aye.
I'm looking at you, Kyle. Anything else?
No, that should be it from that standpoint.
But I think there is one other one in that this is an interim assignment, so it's an agreement between two agencies.
That's the delegation authority dash.
So that's gonna take care of that.
Yeah, right.
And then signature approval of that agreement then falls to the chair, given that the interim director is the candidate in question.
Yeah, that could be the case, but
So the agreement between agencies should come to you, send Mary Beth, if you don't sign, doesn't sign her own paperwork.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't want Mary Beth signing her own paycheck? Okay.
Well, the agreement between agencies, of course, cost sharing and all that. So,
Excuse me.
thank you.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
My computer hates being here.
Sherry, John, Mary Beth, Maya, Amy, April, thank you so much for being here and being part of the discussion.
Thank you, Mary
Thank
Beth. Nice to meet
you.
you.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
I'll reach out
Yeah.
to each of you and say hello at some point. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
That was a lot of legal talk. Back to social work. Anything else? I think next on our agenda is approval of the minutes. So if folks. Those were all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, right. Well, we are breaking for lunch at some point too, right? It's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see you, Tessa? Shall we do approval of minutes and then grab some lunch and then come back?
Okay, I won't grab Brendan.
Yeah, because then he can bring his lunch in.
This is Troy Costello. I move for approval of the February 2026 Board of Licensed Social Workers Special Board Meeting Minutes
As presented.
as presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy.
Apparently, I'll second.
Thank you, Nicole. Roll call, Amy Ashton Williams, aye.
Troy Costello, aye.
Nicole Pantley, aye.
Olivia Borman, aye.
Molly Jansen, aye.
Thank you. The previous board meetings have been approved.
Job, no.
We are going to take a quick 10, 15
15 more
15-minute
realistic.
break so that we can grab lunch, use the restroom, and then we will come back and continue on in our public meeting.
Okay.
Okay. It is 12:03. So what is that? Like 12:18, 12:20-ish, 12:20. Okay.
Okay.
We just go in and integrate.
Thank you for the pause so we could grab some lunch. We're gonna go right back in. Agenda item number 6 is the introduction of a new staff member. Ren,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here.
Yep. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Your official title, investigator?
Investigator 2. That's a classification.
Superstar.
Superstar. All with no cape. I'm good.
Have one
Oh, you have
for
a
you.
cape? Okay.
Have one for you
Oh,
today.
you do have one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Started April 6th and been here about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Maybe this is the second week. Like that. Third week already? Okay.
Yeah, we're at.
We're week 3. Yeah, great. Nice to meet everybody.
I know I'm excited because you just bring so much experience. So I feel like it doesn't feel like we're starting from ground zero.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
much experience.
For sure. I just need to learn and be comfortable with all the different OERs specific to the board. So, but we're in progress.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is public comment. So we have some individuals online if they would like to make public comment at this time. We also have another opportunity for public comment later in our meeting. Okay, hearing none.
Did someone just ding in or what was that noise?
No, that was my computer.
Oh, okay. That was,
Yeah, denied.
This part, we don't typically do lots of executive sessions in one meeting, but today is the anomaly. So we're gonna actually move into executive session and compliance one, right? Thank you, Kyle. The Board of Licensed Social Workers will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192-6602F and ORS 675-5404 and 676-1751, which allows the board to meet in executive session to consider confidential investigatory information. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. So it is now 12:30 and we will enter into executive session and those online will be placed into the waiting room.